Awesome. So now you need to go through it.
Yeah.
Did you unmute?
Yes, I have unmuted now.
Oh, you should have told me. So now.
Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Tolu. Haven't seen. I'm a ad solutions consultant on DCM for DoubleClick. And today I'm going to take you through attribution. And this is the agenda that we're going to cover: the conversion path as it stands today, attribution modeling in DCM, also search attribution. I'm hoping to do a demo, and hopefully the demo, God Fairy Mother is actually smiling down at me and everything will work. And then we're going to look at use cases, and also there'll be time for Q&A. There'll also be time for Q&A during the presentation. For people who are on Hangout, this is how you will actually post your questions, and please don't be shy. This is for you. There is no such thing as a stupid question. Everyone has to learn at the beginning at some time in their life, and also refresher courses are really good as well. So first and foremost, let me introduce you to Cooper. He's going to be my kind of person that I'm going to use, and hopefully will bring attribution to life for you. He's a digital strategy account manager, and he's had a meeting with a client, and they are now setting their budget for 2016. Having looked at all of their activity last year, they're wondering that whether display is actually playing any role in driving conversions, because by the results that they're seeing, that possibly they're going to look at their budgets and upweight search and actually kind of reduce some of the budget on display. But Cooper's not so sure. He just wants to make sure that the client actually makes an informed decision before they actually decide to touch on their budgets. So his goal is to prove to his client the value of display within a user's path to conversion. And how he wants to prove this is to see the value of each channel, which sites are lead generators in the conversion path, and also which is the best model to use to actually prove this. So as I said, how does the attribution today stand? how does the user's journey of how they actually make a purchase. And they are just so many channels that are out there. You have your desktop, you have your TV, you have your search mobile, you have your social with Twitter, Facebook, as well as not even taking into account all of the offline that is available out there with your smart TVs and your radios as well. And Cooper's looking at this landscape and he's trying to navigate it, and he knows that even though we're looking at last click for legacy, is that the right approach for you as an agency and and also for your clients? Because for legacy wise, that is always what we've actually gone on. The last click wins. However, we've ignored all of the other touch points that has gone before. So social, display, rich media, anything that the client, your consumer has touched, we've ignored, and we've just looked at last click. But Cooper knows that now there are other models that are coming into the equation. So we have linear, which is equal, attribution, and we also have position-based, which then looks at your lead generator and also your direct response and how they actually correlate to each other. So why is it so hard and why is it such a big deal? Well, the hardness is the fact that how do you say when a user's journey starts and when is the middle and when is the last? And so you also have, how can you navigate, how can you give the optimum between each touch point that the user takes? How can you measure that? What tools are out there to help you? And these are not to mention the type of engagements that your user, your client is going through, as well as the fact of the outside influences that will also affect a user's purchasing. So now we have introducing attribution modeling in DCM. So I've just gone through that, and I'm just wondering, is there any questions? Do you have any questions about what I've just said so far? No? No? Does it all make sense to you? Yeah? Should I go on to the Hangout?
Checking at the same time. No questions on the Hangout.
Okay, cool. So Cooper is now, he knows he has DCM. And so he's using it, and so he wants to see what's out there. What can DCM do? And DCM also has the last click model. It also has linear, as well as position. But what else does it have? We have 7 built-in models in DCM. We have obviously floodlight, which always refers to the last click, no view at all. Then we have last interaction, which actually does refer to the last view. We have first interaction, view and click as well. And also linear, as we mentioned before, which is equal. Time decay is quite a nifty little attribution model because you have a granular credit and you give the most credit to the last interaction. And then we have position-based as well that we mentioned earlier, sometimes known as the U. And we also have customization. Now, with customization, that is quite a complex, but it is sometimes more specific to the activity that you're running, because not only can you incorporate all of those other models, but now you can look at position-based modeling if you have keywords, if you're running search. It's a very much more granular approach to attributing credit. And it is instant. As soon as you set it up, you can apply it to your data and analyze further. You can save it and use it time and time again. And also you can further customize it to change. As we saw in the previous diagrams, if you have seasonal changes and you want there just to tweak, you can do that as well. So before I go into search attribution, again, is there any questions about the models that we have in DCM? Go.
Can you explain a bit more between the floodlight and last interaction?
Yes, of course. Because I didn't mention the fact that it looks at last view as well as the last click. So whenever we talk about interaction within DCM, we are talking about a view and a click. So that's the difference between the last and the floodlight model. Any other questions? No? In the apologies for those in the Hangout. And again, I'll say that there is a 20-second delay in the Hangout. So please, if you want to ask any questions, just post it and we will constantly refer back. But for those in the room, I mean, how often, I mean, why did you come to actually this session? Is it because you're being asked about attribution now? Is it becoming more and more, or is this something that you thought, I should know about this?
I think it's coming up more and more, to be honest. I think the use case of Cooper is very good. So it's trying to justify display quite a lot, especially my job. It's like, or even justifying prospecting and retargeting.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
I think often our clients, if they have a branding campaign, they want to know, how is it going to impact afterwards, and you want to make sure that you've got the right report in place before you, start that whole activity. So I think that's really important.
Okay. Yeah, cool. No, that's good. Yeah. Time and time again, this question does come up. And so, I picked Cooper and I picked this scenario. But again, there are many, many different asks from your client in which you can actually use attribution modeling, be it brand keywords versus generic keywords, be it paid search versus organic search. There are many different nuances and scenarios in which you can actually start using your attribution report. So, but Cooper knows that there's also search attribution, and he uses DCM and he uses search. And that is one of the beauties of having an integrated platform, is the fact that he can actually make up the attributions models in DCM and actually also in GA as well, and make up up to five models and import them back into search and apply them to his search activity. So he just wants to have a little look to see what data and what data will he get out if he does that. So the way to do this is when you go into the search platform, you just select attribution, and what will come up is all of the different types, and I apologize for this screen grab, it's a bit small, but it's the different models that are available, attribution models that are available to you. And so you just select the models that you want to import. Cooper waits 24 hours, and now he can start to select the floodlight tags to actually pull and assign to the individual attribution models that he wants to see in search. The next screen is just showing you that you have to select your floodlight tags, and it's really important that you name the naming convention. I'm sure people on Hangout and also in the room, the importance of naming convention, because when you're reporting, you need to know exactly what it is that you're reporting on and what you're looking at. So make sure that the name that you give your floodlight tag is relevant and meaningful. Usually it's whatever is being recorded. And then also the actual attribution model that you're applying to that floodlight tag as well. Once that you have selected your floodlight tags, then you can start to set up your models and pull them in for analysis. And this is just giving you an example. Cooper has selected 4 campaigns, and side by side he's applied the 5 attribution models so that he can see whether there's an uplift and which model actually works best for his search activity. And the added benefit of this is that you can actually use the best serving attribution model in your bid strategies for optimization. So, but however, in this case, Cooper, it's great that he knows that this exists. There is a caveat in the fact that if your attribution model within DCM has any impression data, what you need to do is downweight that, so you give it a credit of 0. And in the demo, I'll show you how to do that. So you give the impression interaction type, the impression, a credit of 0, and then you can import that into paid search, because all the models that are in paid search are looking at your search activity, so your click activity. But we are at hand anyway. When you want to do this, please reach out to your DoubleClick rep, and they'll be able to support you through setting these up. So I'm going to now try and do a demo. Does anyone have any questions in the room or on the Hangout about that? Actually.
No, if I see any questions on the Hangout, I would let you know.
Okay, cool. Now, I'm going to see. Oh, actually, luckily, I'm already there. So can people see my screen? Excellent. So attribution, has anyone gone into the attribution tool? Yeah. And has there been any challenges that you found when using the tool? Or is it the fact you kind of look at it and you think,
I don't understand how, if I want to get my CPAs for the campaign, is it possible to have like a reporting where you can see CPA based on the floodlight and then CPA based on time decay? Or
that's a good. You have media cost data, but have you put actually your media cost actually in the trafficking module?
Yes. Or what do you mean? Like, so I can see it in this? Yeah.
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 You have. We don't have. See, we do have a media cost report, but not actually in attribution, unfortunately. But that's a. I do believe that has. Yeah. I'm not quite sure whether that is coming in the future, but it's something that possibly maybe reach out to your DoubleClick rep, and they'll be able to let you know. Yeah. Okay. Any other kind of challenges that you found?
No.
No? Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that Cooper wanted to do was see how display was working with search. And the first thing that you could do is go into the attribution platform in DDM reporting. And as you can see here, it defaults to your basic channel grouping. And channel grouping refers to the medium that you're buying, so the media that you're buying. So search, standard display, rich media, click trackers, and yeah, we used to have mobile, but with the emergence of HTML5, again, that's the importance of having a naming convention when you are looking at mobile activity now. So with this, the first one that we can see is that it's looking at the last click model. So even though we're looking at the last click, standard display is actually, in this instance, standard display is doing quite well. Again, Cooper may well pull this report and show his client to say, well, in the top 5, standard display over search, and there's not that much in it. And also it's driving revenue. If it's this particular one is a sales tag, but of course you could also again look at first touch, and here is where you would select your models. So we can look at first interaction. In DCM, in attribution, you can compare up to 3 models at a time. So let's see, and let's look at linear. And this is because possibly Cooper wants to have an idea of what the value is of the upper funnel, so the lead generations. And this is just to show the client that maybe standard or display is not driving the final conversion, but it is definitely has an influence with the upper funnel of actually making the consumer aware of his product. And another thing that you can look at is top conversion paths. Is anyone, again, in the room, and I apologize to those in the Hangout, have you ever used top conversion paths? And you know, this is an open forum. Do you actually find it useful in just giving you an idea as to the way that your consumer is behaving within that conversion path?
Yeah, I do find it useful to show clients, especially if you do the custom channel groups and have your different, that you're prospecting and remarketing. Because even if they don't have search and everything interlinked, sometimes it's good to just show how prospecting is feeding remarketing.
That's excellent. And in fact, one of my use cases, that is actually one of the scenarios, so that's spot on. And what it is that, and if you look at the report, especially if you look at top conversion report, what you'll find is that, especially when it comes to either DBM remarketing or prospecting, is that you'll find that if you went on the on all of our other reports other than attribution and path to conversion, you will find that search would always win out over the impression. So again, here we are. It's the top 10 conversion paths. And again, and this particular client that I've chosen, obviously I can't tell you who that is, but they do a lot of search activity. However, as you can see here, display is very much conversions. And you know, you could, I have seen clients actually, even you can do an uplift. You can actually find out as to, this is advanced search, and you can find out how many of the conversions that happened that were just search only. And you can get dimension, basic channel, include, and exclude. Let's exclude standard display. Again, I'm hoping that the Genie is working, demo Genie is working, or should I say fairy godmother, and that this will work. For those on Hangout, I'm crossing my fingers. And does everyone understand what this report is saying? You know, does everyone, the 2 times and the I, and just the 2 times as well? But I'll just say, just for 2 times in the I always signifies an impression. And without the I, then it's a click. And this is now giving me the search path. And I included click trackers and I included rich media. But of course, you can again do your advanced search and you can filter those out. And what I was doing was I was saying basic channel grouping path and including, and it contains or exclude as well, to actually really filter down and get the report that you need out of this. Does anyone have any questions at all? No? Okay. Online? No? Hangout? No? Okay. Now you may want to create your own channel grouping. I always find it easier to copy them, the original, and then start to edit. And for this, then again, you can start creating a new rule like DDM remarketing. And again, you need to have insight to your campaign. Again, the importance of a naming convention, because then you can actually identify what the ad is, if it's the ad. And if it was a DDM remarketing, it most probably will be 1 by 1 pixel. And so you can actually then just specify, call that, and then that particular label, and you can do it any color that you want, and then just click save. And again, the drop down here, if you, I mean, in some respects, if you're not going to go on naming conventions, add IDs, the IDs, because you can't go wrong with an ID. So the ID will specifically target what you want. But so long as you understand what it is when you pull the report. Okay. And these are all of the, you can get right down to nitty gritty. If you were looking at a search campaign, then a search data that you wanted to incorporate into your attribution funnel, then you would go by campaign and actually just put Dart search or search. And that would pull in now your search activity into your attribution model. Does anyone have any questions on this? Now again, so again, getting back to Cooper. So Cooper's running all these reports, and also he wants to look at assisted because he looked at he wanted to see about you know, lead generation sites. So he may actually pull assisted conversions. And again, with assisted, and maybe this is to be expected, with assisted, standard display beats search. But that's good because the client needs to know that standard display, in the previous report that we did, when it was just a floodlight level model, that search was the top. But however, when it comes to assisted standard display, and the client just needs to know that standard display is driving those conversions. And they, you know, clients always like graphs and things, so if you want to, you can nice and keep it nice for them. Yeah. And so it's easy to understand. And of course, we also have first interaction. Because this is a public forum, but what I would possibly, for Cooper's instance, he would actually look at the sites as well to see what publishers are actually being lead generators as well. And you can pick that as a secondary. So not only will you have your channel, your search, your click trackers, your standard display rich media, so to find out which medium is driving, but also then you also have your publishers in which are also driving those first interactions. How do for time? Okay. Okay. So let's get back to Cooper. So Cooper, again, wants to look at valuing the upper funnel activity, and I showed you how you can do that. And what he did was that he compared first, last, and other models. So I picked floodlight tag because that's the last click, and I then selected first interaction to look at lead generations, and then I looked at linear. But any permutations of those, you can actually, the 7 models that I said before, you can actually start to use those to actually start looking, delve deeper into what is driving that upper funnel activity. And this is just showing you just a screen grab of how to do it. And then also, Cooper looked at how to drive organic search. And you need to be on DoubleClick search, actually, to then start pulling in your organic search. And as you can see here, and again, I demonstrated how you can do labels. And that's what Cooper has done here. He's labeled his organic search. He's gone into his channel groupings, added a label, labeled it natural search, found the ID. Actually, no, actually, it's you select by campaign and you select your Dart search campaign, and that will pull in your natural search data.
When you do the natural search and sync it, there's an option to go with having it attributed and not.
She's a search expert.
What would you recommend?
Anyways, I would say like it depends on if you are comfortable with showing, conversions which are driven from your organic results. You have the option to include them or not to include them. So this is really up to you. I think like strategy-wise, best to have a chat with your DoubleClick AM just to understand what you would like to do, why do you need the type of information, and how it's going to help you in your performance, in your account. That being said, if you enable it, to be able to actually see them in the attribution reporting, you will need to make sure that your attribution model for natural search is on. And you need to enable it as well. Because when it's on, it means that conversions that actually came from natural search are attributed to search, and they are counted in the path, right? So that would be the only thing, like if you want to enable it for attribution, make sure it's on when it comes to attribution model. But I think for the other conversation, again, I see what you mean. I would say really have a chat with your DoubleClick consultant or like AM to understand what you want to do with it, and then they will, be able to advise you probably on if you need to show these conversions or not. Okay. Oh, and one thing I need to add: if you actually want to be on natural search, you need to ensure that your account is running with DoubleClick search. Yeah.
And this is just, again, another screen grab of labeling, and because of the fact that this particular report was quite, Cooper has labeled display, he's labeled his natural search, paid search, rich media, very much to, in fact, the labels of the natural search and the paid search, and it's very much to, so that he can, again, demonstrate to his clients as to how display it has been driving organic searches. And this one is quite a really interesting report that you might want to run. It's to actually look at the uplift that display has on paid search. So how you would do this, and again, I showed you with the advanced filter, is that you can gradually run a report in which you include paid search, but you exclude rich media, standard display, click trackers if you're running. So that will give you all of the conversions that are paid search only. And then what you then do is you incorporate, just run a report on standard display, and again, using the filter, include now back in standard display and rich media if you're running rich media, and then work out, this is a nifty calculation. Of course, as my colleague said, Liddy, this presentation will be sent to you, but this is a quite nifty kind of calculation in which you can see the uplift. And that's really, especially since you have clients in which search is really kind of the main key, and you just need to kind of like, yeah, again, showing the value of display in that conversion path. And I've got a screen grab here of how you would do that. And again, is my DS and DBN search to display remarketing working? The paid search click will be bumping out any DBM remarketing impressions that have driven conversions due to the floodlight attribution model. Attribution can unlock those insights. On any one of our other reports, as you can see here, search would be the one that the conversion would be attributed to. However, with, again, nifty, your labeling, and you've got your DBM remarketing, you can now see where in that user's path that DBM remarketing comes. And as you can see, in this instance, even though, again, because this is a public forum, we cannot show you the advertiser, but these are real screen grabs. And in this instance, the DBM remarketing was actually the last event before the user converted. And again, screen grab of how to do that. And then again, and all of these reports relate back to the 3 goals that Cooper had. How important are displays to my customers? How many converters get served a display ad? And he's just looked at his assisted conversions, and you can see that display 50% of total assisted conversions was 50%, in which display plays a part in that. And again, shows you how you do that. And where do new journey paths start? Which publishers are my lead generators? And this, Cooper pulled a report based on first interaction report, and he selected the site rather than the channel. He selected sites to see. And in fact, what you can even do is that, oh, I didn't do that in the demo, but I'll do that now, is you can downweight the click and then, or upweight your impression. But I would probably put the credit to click as 0, and then apply the first interaction model to your sites to see how that's. So to finalize, through using DCM attribution modeling reports, I was able to provide my client with data to show how display was not only attributing to the user's conversion paths, but to delve even deeper into how display was a significant driver behind search conversions too. So for Cooper, it's just actually so that the client makes an informed decision. In some respects, clients, what they say, that is correct, but you just want to make sure that the decision that they make is actually informed and correct. So, does anyone have any questions at all? And I'm going to do that one thing about how to actually choose about downweighting your credit of your in-click or your impression. So you're going back into the attribution modeling tool, and I can just choose anyone here. First interaction. So you select your model, edit. Sorry about that. In fact, actually, you do have. Okay. You do have to create a custom model, but you can actually benchmark it by picking either linear, position, all the other models, except for floodlight. And then you can, you actually can see it says credit, and you just turn it on. There's a slider. You turn it on, and then you can actually just set the credit to equal 0 or 1.5 or 0.5%, whatever you want to downweight or upweight. You can then select, and it's a drop down as well between click and impression. Unfortunately, I've used up my wishes, so the fairy godmother has decided not to grant me a demo, but let me just try one more time. Hey, that's brilliant. So this is your drop down in which you can use this as your baseline. And then here, except for this, the screen is a bit weird. Here is when you can select, add your custom credit rules just down below. And again, as I said, you can get as sophisticated as you want. If it's if you're looking at position and path, that you can change that to first, last, assist, and middle, and then. But if it's an ad, you can either select the ad via ID or name, and then you can actually adjust the credit as well. And then interaction type, you can select whether it's going to be an impression or a click that you downweight.
Do you have any recommendations on how to value impression versus click?
I don't have, I think they each play an equal part in driving the users, but I do, driving that user's conversion. However, all kind of data kind of says that the impression actually generally is the first interaction that a user will make with an ad. So it is definitely plays a part in lead generation. And whenever I've pulled a first interaction report, it usually trumps search. Yeah, 8 times out of 10.
Okay, but isn't the credit, so if there is an impression and the click, then it's like, sorry, this might be a wrong question, but isn't, so I read the recommendation, it could be like 1.4 click, whereas an impression.
You've upweighted it?
Yeah.
Upweighted it
Yeah,
by.
does it sound reasonable?
So you've upweighted the click?
Yeah.
Um,
Because like if you choose the time indicators like the natural like upgrade, but also like if there's a wherever like, so if impression is on position 3 and a click is position 3, click will still get a little bit more credit than impression.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Yeah, that is.
Okay.
Yeah. click will always win out over impressions, but that could well be a lot to do with how we report on users' interaction. We always, for instance, in DCM, besides attribution and path to conversion, most of our reports will always report on the click as the attributing factor towards the conversion. Does anyone else have any questions? Sorry, did I answer your question? Forgive me. Yes. Moving on.
It's not necessarily about this or anything you've shown, but something you mentioned earlier about like an algorithm to choose your attribution model.
Oh yes, true. It is to do with this actually, and thank you. Yes, we now have, and I think actually it's probably a bit longer than 2 weeks, because I think I said about 2 weeks. About a month ago, we now have a data-driven attribution, and although I have taken you through these models, all best practice is actually now to start with possibly data-driven attribution in DCM, because you then do not have to think about anything. It is based purely on consumer behavior. It's not guesswork at all. And it learns. You have to set it. Best practice is select every single floodlight tag within your configuration. You have to let it train itself, the algorithm to train itself for 7 days. If you go back and edit it before the 7 days it's up, from that editing, the 7 days will start again. So, and then you can, once you've, it doesn't matter that you've picked every single floodlight tag, so, and we recommend that you only pick conversion, not remarketing floodlight tags. So can be landing pages, can be sales pages, but no floodlight tags that have been enabled for remarketing. It will train itself for 7 days, and then after that 7 days, then you can start to apply it to your data for analysis. And you can start to select whichever floodlight tag that you want to look at. So because you've enabled all of them, then all of them are available for your data-driven model. What else can I say about that? It's so new, we're still learning. Yeah, just like the algorithm. Does anyone online have any questions? Please don't be shy. You can just say hello. I think that's me. I think I'm done.
So I would say unless we have any more questions, so I'm actually gonna wait just a bit more, like maybe 10 seconds more. So people online, as we have a delay, know that this is the last slide of the day of the event. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And here, just to recap that everything that's been covered, we're going to share everything with you, and then it would be super appreciated if you take the time to complete the survey, which would come with the email, so we know what we need to do for the other events, what type of content we need to cover, and if today it was interesting, what would you like to see a bit more going forward. So like this type of event would happen like once a quarter, when we do like a recap of everything that happened in DoubleClick. And as you know, DoubleClick is big, many products, they have like so many things to be aware of. So we always make sure we keep you updated on that. And you, as you can see, you can join online. So if you don't have time to come all the way here, you can actually make sure you logging online and then watch the recording. And if you have any questions, do follow up with your account manager and any of the consultants. So yeah. So all that to say that we do not have any questions on Hangout, don't have anything in the room. So I am actually happy to say we are done. It's a wrap. So thank you to do for your time, and thank you for going through the whole Attribution deck. And for those of you who joined us online, thank you again for your time, and hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
How do I get a report onto the data tree? Is it just within DDM?
Here we go. We are not live. And